My fellow Americans, we got him. The mainstream media has hunted down and arrested the Pentagon leaker, the guy behind those leaks who have been floating around Twitter for about a week and apparently started on Discord that, I've been mixed on. There have been some stuff that I said, that seems kind of interesting, but the bulk of it didn't really seem to have like an agenda or a narrative behind it, because it was just kind of a scattershot bunch of just random documents. Some of which was embarrassing, and some of which, confirmed things that we thought we knew, but we didn't fully know. And others just kind of seemed like, I feel like you could have found some more damning documents. Well, it turns out, according to the New York Times and Bellingcat, two very, very reliable sources, a Massachusetts Air National Guardsman, 21-year-old by the name of Jack Texera, I think that's how you say it. It's Texeira. Maybe it's Texera. Anyway, Mr. Jack, according to these media outlets, is the source of the leaks. He got them, I guess, from the base, and he decided to take pictures of them and post them on Discord. And he was a part of a far-right, anti-Semitic, sexist, racist group that posted memes and told off-color jokes on Discord using anonymous screen names. And so this guy, he's obviously a very unsavory character, and he's a traitor to the nation. I'm seeing Democrats all over Twitter calling for this man, this young guy, to be jailed for violating his oath to the regime. Because everyone knows when you enter government service, you take an oath. I am going to do whatever the regime tells me to, and I will never question it. And if I see the regime doing illegal things, I will never blow the whistle on that and release government secrets that could embarrass the regime. No, none of us would ever do that. And so for this unforgivable crime, this boy should be sent to Gitmo, never to be seen again. In fact, he should be waterboarded until he confesses what Russian put him up to this. Because we know, at the end of the day, it's always Russia that's behind this stuff. Because Russia, they're the ones who really benefit from the American people knowing just a little bit. We just got a glimpse. That's really how I look at this. All these documents that he threw out there, they were not concentrated. It was just, hey, let's just get a small peek. There's millions of these classified documents. He just took a handful of them and said, let's put them on the internet. So we got, a snapshot, essentially, of like a millennia's worth of data. We got like 1 meg out of 20 trillion terabytes worth of data. And even that little bit of transparency has thrown the regime into a tizzy. The Ukrainian puppet regime is having apparently to completely reorganize their spring offensive, which was not exactly a secret. Tony Blinken has been all over Europe talking about Ukraine's upcoming spring offensive, and trying to essentially crowdfund the offensive by getting arms from various European countries. But that aside, back to this leaker. So this was apparently a young kid in the Massachusetts Air Guard, and I guess he was one of the few left who's not woke. And so it is only natural that he betrayed the regime and tried to expose some of their secrets to us, the voters, the people who pay for the regime, the people who are paying for all this. He exposed that Biden, through executive order, put boots on the ground in Ukraine, something that's not supposed to be happening. And so for that alone, to me, this kid is a hero. He's not on the level of Snowden. He's not that big. But you know what? He took the fall for exposing, and not just this, but they said there was other stuff. But to me, that's the most significant thing that I've seen out of all this. It's not a massive, even Glenn Greenwald did a video on saying, hey, this is not Snowden 2.0. The regime is just angry that anyone released any sort of documents. Out of all the documents that you could release, these are not the most damaging and the most embarrassing. Certainly not. I agree with Greenwald on that, which is why I was kind of scratching my head at these leaks. the first few days, but he did expose something. I mean, and this is stuff that we deserve to know. Almost nothing should be classified. Classification is only used to conceal reality from the voters, because the regime doesn't want us to be well informed when we go to the ballot. They do not want us to be well-informed voters. They want us to be useful idiots. And so do regime loyalists. That's why so many of them are up in arms demanding that this, they're even calling him the MAGA leaker. Because, of course, anyone who is not in lockstep with the regime is just, they're just like Trump. That's Trump all over again. Trump so broke these people's brains, they associate anything that disagrees with them with Trump. I mean, that's why we heard the FBI is now targeting anyone who uses the term based or red-pilled online as a potential domestic terrorist. Now, looking at the profile of this kid, I don't think that this will be the last person from within the military who tries to leak stuff like this. Of course, we had Bradley Manning, but Bradley Manning was a little bit of an outlier at the time because he was a big lefty inside of the military who decided to take a bunch of important documents and get them to Julian Assange. And he too was persecuted, and while in prison, decided to transition, so to speak, into a woman. And for that reason, the trans lobby was able to get him out of prison. And even if that was a purely Machiavellian thing, hey, you got to wear a dress for a while. And that gets you out of prison when you were locked up forever. If I were in Manning's position, I can't say that I wouldn't do the same thing. Although I do think in Manning's case it seems to be genuine. But anyway, that aside, historically, the military's been the domain of the right. Right-wingers tend to be the people who go into the military. Now, in the last couple of years, since the jabs, there has been a clear effort to excise the right wing from the military and make it a woke military. But that's going to take a while. You can't just do that overnight. I mean, the military was a very strong right-wing institution. And so you do have a lot of right-wingers, especially, young idealistic recruits. Like this kid, he was 21. He probably went into the military at 18 before there was a lot of wokeness. And then, he went through the whole jab fiasco and probably took the jab and all this stuff and has become very disillusioned. And so he decided to start leaking some stuff because he probably just feels despondent. He doesn't want to be a part of the military. He decided, that was going to be his career probably, and decided, hey, I can't be a part of this. And I respect that if that's the case. And there probably will be more like him as they continue to purge right-wingers from the military, which again, in pretty much every country is a right-wing institution. It's kind of tough to have a left-wing military. Left-wing men often are not the most physically fit or ready for battle or willing to engage in combat. It's a particularly masculine profession. Nevertheless, I don't doubt that they will completely excise the right from the military, and I encourage all right-wingers to steer clear of the military. It's something that I personally never considered, not just because I'm probably not in the best of shape. I mean, I'm not overweight. I could, if I wanted to go into the military, if I felt strongly about it, I wouldn't have too much trouble getting into the proper shape to get into the military. In fact, as bad as things are for the military right now, recruitment-wise, they might just accept me the way I am. But anyway, that aside, I never considered going to the military because I didn't want to die in a stupid, pointless war. But now, you have even more reason not to go into the military because they will force you to take the Lord Jabu Jabu. They will force you to go to anti-whiteness training. They will force you to go to gay training. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They train you how to be gay. I mean, as if a bunch of sweaty men spending months and months together alone in the same bedrooms for, what is it, a term of, how long do you have to sign on? 4 years to the military at a time? As if that wasn't gay enough, now they're having gay training just to make sure. And so there's absolutely no reason why anyone who is not a SJW wokester should ever sign up to be in the military. Because guess what? If you are a real American patriot, the way that term was understood, as recently as, 2015, you are going to become dejected, just like this young man, and you either will be miserable in your position, or you will get, you'll get dishonorably discharged for being insensitive towards the Rainbow Jihad, or you will end up doing something that will get you thrown in prison, like this young man. Because you won't be able to live with yourself if you are not only collaborating, but, enabling. You'll be the tip of the spear for this very immoral regime. And so, one last time, I want to thank Jack Texera, if that's how you say it, for his brave sacrifice in destroying his life, pretty much, for the sake of getting some of this information to us. Information about the U.S. spying on our close allies, information about the U.S. having troops illegally in Ukraine, fighting a war that Congress did not approve. Yes, these are things that, certainly people like me wouldn't have, are not surprised at, but this is evidence now. It's confirmed that this is genuine because they are arresting you, because they are putting you away. They're admitting that these documents are real. They would have been better off denying their veracity and letting you go. They should have quietly discharged you and tried to cover it up. That would have been the smart thing. But now we all know all these documents that you put out, even though not all of them are that groundbreaking, they are real, and it is genuine information. And so the least that we can do to honor your sacrifice is to internalize this information and to not forget it. So with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.